Stop right there. Before you do anything else, before you move on, before you decide this is just another message, listen carefully. This is not for everyone. This is for you. There is a reason you are here, a reason your attention stopped, and a reason these words are reaching you at this exact moment. You may not understand it yet, but something inside you already feels it. You have been sensing something, a quiet pull, a feeling that there is something more you are not fully seeing, something trying to reach you beyond your daily routine, beyond your usual thoughts. This is not sleuthy. This is not random. Through Jesus Christ, you were shown that moments like this happen when you are meant to pause and pay attention. You have been moving through your days, focused on what needs to be done, dealing with responsibilities, handling situations, and trying to keep everything in order. But in all of that, you have overlooked something important. Not because you wanted to ignore it, but because you have been distracted, because your attention has been pulled in so many directions that you did not realize what you were missing. And now, you are being asked to stop and open yourself to something you have been avoiding, something you have been delaying, something you have felt but have not fully acknowledged. You have had moments where you felt like something was trying to get your attention, moments where a thought stayed longer than usual, moments where you paused and felt something deeper than you could explain. But each time, you moved on. You told yourself it was nothing. You told yourself you would think about it later, and you continued with your day. But those moments did not disappear. They kept returning in different ways at different times, because they are not meant to be ignored. You are not being asked to do something complicated. You are not being expected to have all the answers. You are simply being asked to open yourself, to become aware, and to stop pushing away what you already feel inside. Because the more you ignore something, the stronger it becomes, not outside of you, but within you. It starts to affect your thoughts, your decisions, and your direction. You begin to feel more restless, more uncertain, and more disconnected from clarity. You may have already felt this, even if you did not fully understand it. This is not something to fear. This is something to recognize. You are at a point where something is trying to shift. Something is trying to move you in a different direction, but it requires your attention. It requires you to stop, to listen, and to open yourself to what you have been avoiding. You have been strong, you have been patient, and you have been moving forward even when things did not make sense. There were moments when you felt like you were doing everything right but not seeing the results you expected. There were times when you felt like no one truly understood what you were going through, times when you had to carry everything on your own, and times when you questioned if anything was really changing. But even in those moments, you kept going. You did not stop. You did not give up completely. And that matters more than you realize. That strength you showed, that effort you made, and that patience you held onto were not wasted. They were part of something bigger, something that you could not fully see at the time. You were being prepared, even when it felt like nothing was happening. You were being shaped, even when it felt like everything was staying the same. And now, you are reaching a point where something needs your attention, something that will begin to make things clearer if you allow it. This is not about changing everything overnight. This is not about suddenly becoming perfect or having complete clarity. This is about one simple thing: opening yourself, opening your awareness, opening your attention, and opening your willingness to face what you have been avoiding. Because the moment you do that, things begin to change. Not dramatically, not instantly, but in a way that starts to make sense. You begin to understand things differently. You begin to see why certain things happened the way they did. You begin to recognize patterns you did not notice before. And you begin to make choices that feel more aligned with what you truly need. This is how change begins. Not with a sudden event, but with a shift in awareness that leads to a different way of thinking and moving. There is something you need to understand clearly. Ignoring this moment will not stop anything from happening. It will only delay what eventually needs to be faced. And the longer something is delayed, the more it grows into something bigger, something harder to manage, and something that affects more areas of your life. You may think you have time. You may think you can deal with it later. But later becomes a habit. And that habit becomes your reality. This is why this moment matters. This is why you need to pay attention now. Not because something is about to collapse, but because something can still be guided, something can still be adjusted, and something can still be improved before it becomes more difficult. You are not being warned to create fear. You are being guided to create awareness. As you continue to listen, I want you to ask yourself something honestly. What is it that you have been avoiding? What is it that you feel deep inside but have not acted on? What is it that keeps coming back into your thoughts, even when you try to ignore it? That is where your attention needs to go. That is what you need to open yourself to. You do not need to fix it immediately. You do not need to have everything figured out. But you do need to stop ignoring it. Because the moment you acknowledge it, the moment you allow yourself to face it, things begin to shift. Your thoughts become clearer, your mind becomes calmer, and your direction becomes more stable. You begin to feel a sense of control again, not because everything is perfect, but because you are no longer avoiding what needs your attention. You are not alone in this moment. You may feel like you are figuring everything out on your own, but you have been guided more than you realize. You have been protected in situations you did not fully understand. You have been moved away from things that were not meant for you, even when it did not make sense at the time. What felt like rejection was often protection. What felt like delay was often alignment. And what felt like confusion was often preparation. You were not being left behind. You were being positioned. But positioning only matters if you choose to move when the moment comes. And this is that moment. As you move forward from here, you will begin to notice changes. Your thoughts will feel more focused. Your decisions will feel more intentional. And your direction will feel more aligned with what truly matters. You will begin to let go of things that no longer serve you, not because you are forced to, but because you understand that they do not belong in your life anymore. You will begin to move differently, think differently, and act differently. And those small changes will lead to bigger shifts over time. So do not ignore this. Do not treat this as something temporary. This is your moment to open yourself, to become aware, and to move forward with intention. You do not need to rush. You do not need to force anything. You only need to stay present and allow yourself to understand what you are being shown. Because once you open yourself, everything else begins to follow. And when it does, you will realize that this moment was not random. This moment was the beginning of something that needed to happen.